So today we're going to talk about the differences between high school and college. They are big differences, and some of this may be kind of a common knowledge thing that you may already know, but some of it may be a big eye-opener. So we're going to discuss it, that way you are prepared with all of your classes. So in high school, your time is structured by others, and you spend like 6 hours per day, 30 hours per week, and you go from one class right to the next. And those classes are arranged for you most of the time. In college, you're in charge of your own responsibilities, your own priorities, your own time. You often have time between classes. And it's a little bit different in our remote learning format. On campus, you will have downtime in between classes, and you have to figure out what you're going to do during that downtime. Are you going to spend it to do your homework so you don't have to do it at home? Are you going to spend it eating? Are you going to spend it socializing? That's all up to you. It's your priority. And your times are going to vary each day in class because what you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday is not the same that you have on Tuesday, Thursday. So instead of 30 hours a week in class, you're going to have 12 to 16. And your schedule is going to look a lot lighter than it actually is. We're going to get into why that is here in a moment. In high school, if you act it out, you're going to get corrected for your bad behavior, and they tell you what to do to fix it. In college, we already expect you to know how to act. If you act inappropriately, we're just going to kick you out of our class and refer you to student services, which talks about the consequences for your actions. Everything that you do or do not do is going to fall on your shoulders, and you have to take the responsibility for that. The consequence may be something good, like you get praise, but the consequence may be something bad. Worst case scenario, you fail the course. Succeeding in high school, you have, if you ever took a dual or an AP class, you normally had that class for like the entire year. That's not going to happen. We will take what you did in a year of high school and do it in one semester, 16 weeks. And a lot of the time we will cover more material. Back in high school, you may have done like no homework outside of class, and you may have done no studying. That is all going to change. For each hour that you are in class in college, you are going to spend at least 2 to 3 hours outside of class. This class is a little different because it is a seminar class, and it is not as content heavy as, let's say, a math class. If you're in math class for 3 hours each week, you should be expecting to spend at least 9 hours outside of class on the homework. Okay. With high school, you could often just read your notes or listen and you were good to go. College, you need to review your class notes and material regularly. We are going to expect you to remember what we did the previous day and be able to apply it, to discuss it, to move forward. We're not going to reteach the material we already taught and that you were already expected to do the homework on. We're going to move to the next topic. We will not stop and reteach an entire section, which you may have seen in high school. In high school, you were often told what you needed to learn. What were the key points? What was so important? Well, in college, you have to read and understand the material. We will bring up the highlights, but you need to know all the nitty-gritty pieces. Our lectures and assignments are going to keep going that you have already done the assigned work. So again, I'm going to bring up math because that's what I teach outside of freshman seminar. If I taught you how to add and subtract fractions on Monday, when I see you on Wednesday, you're going to be expected to solve equations with fractions because we have already talked about fractions. Let's keep moving. Your instructors in college versus your high school teachers. Your high school teachers were often, I'm not going to say nicer because your college instructors are nice too, but they were more accommodating, which a lot of people equate to being nice. That's not the case. Accommodating does not equal nice. Accommodating means that they're going to bend over backwards to help you pass, regardless if you attended class, if you slept during class, if you didn't do the work. No, college instructors are not going to be that accommodating. We expect you to take responsibility for your own learning. We will not remind you of incomplete work. You are expected to manage your own assignments and submit them by the due date. You are expected to get notes from a classmate and make up the material if you have missed a class. Never email your college instructor going, I missed class on Monday. Did you do anything? No, we stopped to mourn your absence from the class. That's not how it works. Yes, you missed material. If you want to email your instructor about the material you missed, do it in a way that acknowledges you were absent and that the instructor moved on with material. Ask what you missed. How can you learn the material that you missed? Most of the time, we'll tell you to get notes from a classmate and then come and see us with questions or go to the tutors with questions. College instructors are not going to extend your deadlines. We're not going to offer makeup work, and we're rarely going to offer extra credit. If you want extended deadlines or makeup work, you're going to need a documented medical excuse in most cases. We pay attention to your effort and your attendance. If you have not been exhibiting any effort throughout the semester, we're not going to take the time and effort to help you at the end of the semester when you're freaking out about your grade. We will put in as much as you put in. We will also lecture nonstop or only write a few words on the board for emphasis. You're expected to take good notes on your own. Now, that doesn't normally apply in math class because you have to go through each of the steps, but I'm talking more like your history, your psych, your government. They may not write down every single thing that you need to know. You need to be able to take those notes yourself. We expect you to connect the dots and synthesize the information, take all these pieces and smush them all together. And you'll see that on exams and in writing prompts. They're not going to make all the connections for you. We want you to take everything you've learned and be able to apply it, take it to the next step. And with attendance, we carefully monitor attendance for the first 12 days or so. But after that, your instructors may or may not take attendance in your college classes. But we will know if you have or have not been there. And that could be a deciding factor in how lenient your college professor is and their willingness to work with you. If you haven't been in class, you're not doing what we asked you to do. You're not putting forth the effort. There's a big difference in the environments for your instructors and teachers. In high school, you're in a teaching environment where you acquire facts and skills. In college, you're in a learning environment where you're responsible. Are you catching this yet? You're responsible for thinking through and applying what you learned. College is going to be all about you being responsible for your education. Tests. In high school, testing is frequent, covers small amounts of material. There's makeup tests, there's curving, there's retests, and teachers will often avoid scheduling tests when you have tests in other classes, or there's a big school event, and they often have review sessions. Almost none of that applies in college. College testing is infrequent and may be cumulative, meaning it covers everything that you've done so far. Many courses only have 2 or 3 tests and then a final. Makeup tests, not without documentation in most cases. And we're going to schedule the test when we're ready to schedule the test. We don't care if you have 3 tests in one day. I mean, we care, but we're still going to set the test, okay? We may schedule a test the day before spring break because we're scheduled to have class the day before spring break. You don't get to start your spring break early. And review sessions, some instructors will have review sessions, some will not. But if they have the review sessions, they are going to be guided by you. If you do not bring in questions and do not know what you need to review, they may stop the review and move on because no one brought up questions. We can assume that you know the material. Other thing about tests. In high school, pretty much regurgitate what you've already been taught or solve problems that you've already seen. In college, you got to apply what you've learned to new situations. You could have a brand new problem that you have never seen before on your test in college, and you have to apply multiple concepts or ideas to try to answer that problem or question. Grades in college, we'll assign a bunch of stuff that we're not going to collect or grade, but you're expected to do it. Completion work, not going to happen a lot. Test grades are going to carry more weight than homework. If you aren't passing the test, you're going to have difficulty passing the class. Whereas in high school, homework was given to boost up your grade. Oh, your test grades are low? Oh, let's give you some homework. High school teachers are often giving extra credit. In college, we don't give extra credit. If we do, it'll be for a small amount of points and will not drastically improve your grade. It could do a small boost, but not taking you from a C to an A. And teachers in high school often bend over backwards to help you pass the course, even at the end of the semester. In college, by the end of the semester, your grade is essentially locked in except for the big final projects or the final exams. If you have not done any work the entire semester, we are not going to spend all of finals week or the week before finals week helping you learn the material. You haven't put forth the effort. Why should we? We're not going to do test corrections. We're not going to curve the exam. Your original test grade is going to be recorded as is in most cases for college. Your first tests are normally wake-up calls because you have not taken a college test before. And even if you have taken a college test before, if you're in a new class, your first test is always a wake-up. You never know what to expect because you have a new instructor and you're in a new class. This first test will help you figure out how to study and what to do for the next test. You will need to bounce back in most cases. It will affect your grade, but now you have a starting point for improvement. And in college, many classes require C as a minimum passing grade. And you have to maintain that 2.0 GPA to graduate and maintain financial aid. The D's get degrees thing does not work in most cases for college. In grades, for high school, effort counted. If you were really busting your butt, you really tried, most of the time you were able to pass. In college, you could bust your butt and you could earn a D, and that may not be passing. Results count. Most of the time, if you are busting your butt and using all the resources possible, going to your office hours for your instructor, going to tutoring, doing all of the work, whether it is collected for a grade or not, you are going to pass with at least a C. Results count. Effort is important, and that is what's going to make your professor willing to meet with you during every office hour. Maybe set up additional appointments. Stay later because you're putting forth the effort. But it all comes down to the results. Did you learn the material? Can you prove that you learned the material? In conclusion, your success in college is driven and directed by you. Everything in college comes down to you and your responsibility and taking responsibility for your actions. You will succeed in college if you decide you are going to succeed. If you put in the time, if you put in the effort, if you complete the material, if you submit all the assignments by the due dates, if you get the help when you need it, either from tutoring or from your instructor, You are going to succeed. Every single one of you can succeed in college if you decide to. You don't have to do it by yourself. You are going to have your study groups. You are going to have your friends. You have your instructors. You have the counselors. You have the tutors. We are all here to help you. We are all here to support you, and we want you to succeed. But we're not going to do the work for you. That is completely up to you. I know you can do this. Now make the decision that you are going to succeed in college, and it will happen as long as you put in the effort.